Hello, everyone. It's me, Mark. I'm back on location at this location, and I'm back with another away mission. Uh, have you ever wondered, how truly safe the world of Star Trek is? I was just thinking, after having seen Shuttle to Kenfori, the last Strange New Worlds episode, you know, if you're on the starship, say the Enterprise in this case, you're one of, say, 400 and some people. I don't know what it is in Strange New Worlds. And in two episodes so far in this season, you're going on an adventure, a wild goose chase, as it were. And I mean, you could have died. They flew the Enterprise into the thermosphere of Kenfori to try and beam two people out, one of them the captain, because they were looking for a cure to the captain's girlfriend's illness. Do you care? Do you care about that if you're just somebody on that ship? Really? And I was thinking that back in the day, they used to say red shirts, right? Like if you were going to die, oh, he's a red shirt, he's just going to die. And I think if you really look into that, as I said in my last away mission, that memes matter. Memes are like a message that you can barely comprehend. They're a message from just beyond the veil, right? They're something about that reflects back onto us collectively that exists just beyond what we can consciously perceive, right? So memes, they're meta true, okay? And if you look at, say, TOS, Next Gen, whatever, and you break it down with who's dying and how, you're going to get a different answer than what the memes would tell you. The memes would say that, oh, red shirts are here, this is TOS, they're going to bite it by the million. Well, that does not mean it's okay to do it now. And let's say Strange New Worlds is its own show. It's in a different timeline, whatever. That's your get out of jail free card, right? But in reality, if I say TOS red shirts used to just bite it all the time, whatever, it's okay to put the crew at risk for nothing. It would suggest that, right? But as I always say, doing it in the past doesn't mean you should do it now. That doesn't fix anything, right? Think of how many things have happened before that do not justify doing it again now. It's so obvious when you put it that way, right? Oh, what do you mean? They put the ship in danger so many times before for no reason, right? Yeah, it happened before, right? Well, no, that doesn't mean we should do it now. That doesn't make any sense. But I think more specifically, if you look at Strange New Worlds, you're in a lot of danger for no reason. Now, everyone's going to say, oh, but in TNG, they had civilians on the ship. Yeah, that's true. But I also just told you that doing it before doesn't mean you should do it now, right? Think about it. And on top of that, this is kind of weird too, but I feel like there's I feel like there's like an off-screen canon to stuff. Like if they're going to design the Galaxy class so that it can separate its saucer, that's a big undertaking. Don't you think it happened more than we actually saw on TV? Right? It's kind of weird. What I'm saying is that there's like an on-screen canon, and then there's a logical background canon, right? In my logic fan canon in my head, the saucer separation probably happened a lot more often than it happened on screen, right? Otherwise, why would they bother to design it that way? The behind-the-scenes reason is that it was extremely expensive to shoot a saucer set. So you had to keep reusing the same footage all the time, and it got obvious that they were reusing it. And it just became a problem, with time and with narrative to keep doing it over and over and over again. So, like, I imagine if the episodes were longer and were animated, you would see a saucer set all the time, right? But they weren't. So you couldn't just do a saucer set like every second episode. Like, I imagine in a perfectly logical world, saucer separation probably happened, like, it would be like, 4 to 5 times a season. That's how many times that the Enterprise got into trouble, right? But logically, in Strange New Worlds, right, the Enterprise has almost been destroyed twice now in the same season, right? And one of those times, it was there for an off-the-books reason to save one person. We're going to need a saucer set there, or we're going to need a rewrite. We're actually going to need to rewrite it. We're going to need to make it so they can do it with the shuttle, not fly the entire Enterprise down into that planet's atmosphere or what have you. Come on. So basically, I think the thrust of what I'm trying to say here is, do you want Star Trek to be safe? At some point you have to challenge yourself if you're a writer. You're saying that we need to have a show where it's completely safe. We're in space and there's very little risk of people dying. Who wants to watch that? You're saying we have to have a show where the crew doesn't conflict with one another. They always follow the rules and everything's completely safe. Be bold. It's not enough for the characters to be bold. The writers have to be bold too. Be bold. Do something that seems impossible, right? That's what TNG originally was. A show that seemed impossible. But it turned out it was not impossible. So can we have a new show where nobody gets hurt? Can we do that? Can we have a show where there's very little risk? I don't know. I'm not sure on this, but if you look, so from both points of view, you can have Strange New Worlds with its crew almost completely dying to save one person because the captain likes them. Right? Number one. Number two, we can have saucer separation that we never do, and we just happen to get by with civilians on the ship. Or we can take it to the extreme and say that, no, we're actually not going to put everyone in danger. Which one do you want, I understand both sides of the argument. Like, narratively speaking, you want risk. But I also want to show that we haven't seen before. Something new. Something that's bold, right? On our behalf. We have to be... It's not enough to turn on Star Trek, right, and see the characters act boldly. We have to do it too. And we have to expect that we're not going to put everyone at risk for no reason. And this is so weird because after I reviewed Shuttle to Kenfori, and I saw other people's reviews of it, they didn't seem to really complain a lot. They didn't seem to really worry about the fact that we were looking for this Chimera Blossom off the record and getting involved with Klingons just to save the captain's friend. It just seemed like no one really had a problem with it. I don't know. But anyway, that's my away mission for today. And I'm going to see you when we review the next episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I don't remember what it's called, but I think it's a holodeck episode. Speaking of bold, here's a holodeck episode in TOS. I'm sorry, it's not TOS, but it's around that time. It's TOS when it benefits us, and it's beyond TOS when it benefits us, right? It's whatever we want it to be. Narratively speaking, maybe that's a good idea. I don't know. Who doesn't want a show where you can do whatever you want, write whatever you want, and see whatever you want? I'm Lieutenant Mark, and I'm going to see you when next time I see you. So long.